Alright, this is the first video on this channel. I'm not gonna really do an intro other than just say that this channel is gonna be like I don't know, like a devlog? Is that what they're called? I don't know. It's not okay. That's kind of actually calling it that's kind of cringe. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just gonna sort of update this weekly, every Sunday. No, yeah. I don't know if I'm doing it if I'm gonna upload it in the mornings or afternoons, and it might change from Sunday because I'm gonna look up what like the best time to upload YouTube videos are, because like you want I'm not explaining it. Never mind. Either way, I digress. But this right now, y'all can see a few of the things. I'm actually gonna go through everything that I've already made and just sort of explain it, because I got started before I actually started making the videos and stuff. Either way, the whole idea of the system that I'm making right now is like a lot of custom enchantments, and they're linked to specific gemstones. I'm gonna create like a mining system, whatever. Do all that later, but for the time being, and obviously I'm gonna just like how amber, and that's not actually amber. That's not the custom texture I have for amber. This is the custom texture I made for citrine. I'm gonna create custom textures for all of these. Just for the time of being, because making textures is a lot less fun than like coding stuff, making it work, whatever. I just sort of approximated what these gemstones look like in a Minecraft item. So like, let's do obsidian. I didn't want to do the obsidian block because it was a block. I wanted to keep it as an item. Let's do another one that's like obvious that people would. I mean, purple diamond. It looks purple, obviously. Sapphire's like a blue. Amber's like an orange. That's why I used the citrine one that I already made. Cinnabar's like a really bright neon red. Aquamarine, like that. Anyways, so Jade, I digress. But the system is currently I can't edit the vanilla enchanting table, which is I mean that's what I want to do. Right now I have to use it's something I call empowered enchanting table, and I'll get to the code for that later. But the idea is because I'm creator, the way it works, you can't edit like existing vanilla like I don't know, blocks, just anything really. The all the code is basically like a black box for M Creator, and so I can't like change the GUI for the enchanting table to include an extra slot for a gemstone or something like that. I have to create a new block, which kind of sucks because I want to be able to have a system where I can put in like I can have you put in instead of lapis a gemstone, and then if the game can detect that you're putting in a gemstone and then what kind of gemstone it is, it'll give you the opportunity to either enchant the item or improve the enchantment. I'll explain that right now in a second. So this is a big spreadsheet. All here listed out are all of the vanilla enchantments. I might have skipped a few that didn't really make sense. Although actually no, I have like Curse of Vanishing and Curse of Binding. Either way, and then here I just listed the like gemstones that looked like how I imagine like sharpness in a gemstone would look. Except obsidian is different because obsidian that was because like obsidian's like actually really sharp. But like I imagine like protection is green, you know? Or like lure. Well, I didn't want lure. Lure also would have been green, but it's kind of like a sea water kind of green. Lucky the Sea is kind of like a golden. Silk Touch is like a light blue. Smite's like a deep red. Power's like a deep purple. That I'll be honest, that one and like the flame and fire ones are probably the only ones that make sense. And like Frostwalker. The rest of them are just kind of like what do I think it feels like? Like Feather Falling is kind of like a darkish gray or like a light gray, you know? Or like Mending's like a purplish. I don't know. Maybe I'm just it's like how people when they organize their binders and they're saying like math is red. It's like no, it's clearly blue. Only thing we can agree on is that science is green. Either way, these are all the vanilla enchantments. And then over here, you can see some of them I've created like extra levels. The way it works is you have to, and actually I mistyped sharpness 4. This is meant to say sharpness 5. Same thing for smite. Anyway, either way, the idea is you have to already have something enchanted with sharpness 5, like normal vanilla enchanting, sharpness 5, in order to apply an obsidian gemstone to it, and obsidian's not a gemstone, I'm just going to call it that for now. You have to have this like already level 5 enchantment and apply the obsidian to it in order to get sharpness 6. That way it's not like these are replacing the enchanting system. I want them to add on to it. And then I kind of want it to like make sense almost. But obsidian is kind of one of the few that actually, as the gemstone itself, makes sense. The rest of these are kind of just like the colors look like they make sense, except like aquamarine, aqua affinity, freshwater pearl, lucky to see, like that one kind of makes sense. But then like, and actually obsidian I copied here for piercing just because I figured like it's different sword, crossbow, I don't know, but like androlite isn't like very, it doesn't conduct electricity. If I wanted to do that, I would have done like, yeah, I don't know, like some metal. But the point is, there's gemstones. Either way, so I've got this system where you sort of upgrade enchantments, and I think all of these are already in the game. There's a few that aren't, like, or the mod, not the game. There's a few that aren't, like mending, silk touch. Like I can't make silk touch 2. Like it doesn't work. Mending 2. How do I like that doesn't work. It's just like it already does the thing. You can't do it like you already do it. Although for mending is actually kind of a bad example. Curse of Vanishing 2, Curse of Binding 2, these actually make no sense. Curse of Binding 2, actually, now that I think about it, no, I did have an idea for that one. Because it was like, it would work the opposite as Unbreaking. Because like, the way to get out of Curse of Binding armor is to just have it break, and then it's like not on you anymore. But I would have it work like the opposite of Unbreaking, so it lasts longer. Either way. But these are the base enchantments. These are 90-something% in the game. And then down here are a lot of custom enchantments. Some of them are, these green ones are already in my creator profile here. The ones that are orange, I know how to, like I figured out how to do it, mostly because I was doing it on my laptop, but I haven't actually put them into here. And then these other ones I haven't really like attacked yet, except actually this one and this one. Oh, except, yeah, let's just delete that one. And the idea is, some of these are potions as well. I've been messing around with those. I will say, like, Repulsor Braces from Destiny 2. Pristine is from Hypixel Skyblock. Like, I'll be honest. Recovery, Destiny 2. Vitality, Hypixel Skyblock. Restoration, Destiny 2. Amplified, Destiny 2. Cure, Destiny 2. Jolt, Destiny 2. Destiny. This one is basically Destiny. This one's Destiny. Destiny, and the rest of these down here. But they're not like the same. It's just like I copy the names because if I can get a name, like it's a lot easier to come up with an idea. Like for just like controlled burst, like I can think of a few different ways. One is you could have a bow that shoots multiple arrows, but you have to like draw it out maybe longer than normal. The one I chose to do here was shrink the spread of crossbows after shooting. So like the multi-shot kind of spreads them all out like pretty wide. I would have it like shrink that a little bit. Although I don't I don't know if I can do that. Like I said, with can't modify existing vanilla stuff. Either way, this is sort of the enchantment system that I've got going on. It's the main groundwork for the mod at the moment, seeing as it's like the only things in the mod. Either way, moving on. Oh, and I also sort of got an elemental system. Very much so copying Destiny with Arc Void Solar. Yikes. Don't sue me, Bungie. But the idea is just trying to mix it up. Because I feel like a lot of these like custom enchantments, it's like you apply the enchantment and then it does something. And then, like that's it. And it always does it. And then like maybe the only like thing that's different is like there's like a chance it does it. Or a chance it does it. Like, I don't know. That seems just kind of like lame and repetitive to me. And some of these like double hook, I can't do anything about it. Like I can't make that more skilled. Like it can only be a chance thing. But like volatile, which is part of the elemental system, volatile, you receive slightly more damage, but you deal more damage. But it's actually a status effect. It's not an enchantment. So whenever you use, I think it's Shadow Shot's the name. Yeah, Shadow Shot. Whenever Shadow Shot, what it does is it grants a chance to grant volatility after killing an enemy. So this is only going to be on obviously like Volt Shot, Shadow Shot, except Incandescent is different. But oh wait, no, that's one of the enchantments. Wait, it's Volt Shot, Shadow Shot. What's the other one? Incendiary Payload. I just thought that sounded so fucking. That sounded so cool. Either way, These ones grant you like a chance to grant the effect, like their corresponding elemental effect, when you like after you kill an enemy with a bow. And the idea is, I want to sort of focus each of the 3 different subclasses. I'm laughing because I'm copying the exact same word from Destiny 2. But I want to use all the different like elements. Yeah, I'll call them elements. It's my thing. I made it up. It's my. I came up with it. I'm so creative. Oh my god. I want to. Sorry, I'm drinking something. I want to have like arc focus on mobility. Okay. Solar may. Fuck. Okay, for those who don't know, I also inadvertently in my head just copied the Titan, Hunter, Warlock subclasses. Movement speed, melee. I would say ranged speed actually, or ranged damage maybe. Which actually, think about it. Ranged. Okay. This is actually a cool thought I just had. Void, if it's focused on ranged buffs, volatile, you deal more damage, but you take more damage. So you want to be further away. I'm writing that down. Focused on ranged gameplay. Focused on mobility. Focused on melee. Okay, either way, we got this elemental system as well. Oh, what the fuck what did I just do? I don't even know what that was. Anyways, also you look down here, I have a bunch of tabs. The idea is farms. This is something I want to... I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, I'll be honest. But the idea is I want to make everything infinitely renewable and infinitely farmable. Because I just love doing that. Like, making farms that can run on their own as lag efficient as possible. Like, it's just fun. And so if someone's using the mod, like, I don't want to force them to have to go out and mine these gemstones. If they don't want to mine the gemstones, they don't have to. So the idea is, this one idea is like, I know electroplating is not how you grow crystals. I just sort of like electroplating as an idea, like, or as like the theme. That doesn't make sense. Whatever. Like, what's it called? Like, what is it called when growing gemstones? Lab grown gemstone. What do you grow gemstones in? Crucible chamber. Okay, I'm not calling it crucible chamber because that doesn't make any sense. But the idea is, it's like a water vat thing, and you place like a really small crystal in it, or maybe, oh shit, gemstone mixture into vat. I should have a crazy idea. Okay, so the idea is, if you already have like a mid-sized gemstone and you don't want to have to use other mid-sized gemstones to craft the bigger sized gemstone, then you can just place those mid-sized gemstones into the vat or whatever, and then over time it'll gradually grow up to be the other one, like basically like a plant. Anyways, another idea I actually just had was, you can there's like the lowest level of gemstone is basically gemstone dust. It's like if you were to break a gemstone apart, like the little bits of dust and particles that like sort of fall away. The idea is you could mix that with a water bottle and put it into the vat in order to get an actual gemstone, because you can't place the dust. Like, it wouldn't really make sense. Minecraft Redstone Mechanic Farm. Also, yeah, I don't want to make it renewable just with my thing. I want to make it redstoneable too, because it's just like, I don't want it to feel like you know those mods where it's like, it's the titanium mod, and all they do is just add like titanium armor, titanium tools, and then they're all those things are just better than diamond. It's like, whoa, crazy mod! Oh my god, dude, let me have it, please. Like, I want it to feel like it's actually integrated into vanilla. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what that's trying to do. Autocrafter, obviously I want to be able to have it compress stuff as well. I sort of mentioned it a little bit, but I'm going to plan on making like crafting recipes in order to get like different higher level gemstones. But then also, obviously, you've got this thing and maybe something with it. I'll probably have this. More than likely, I'll probably have it have you be allowed to farm the dust and then maybe like a way to farm larger size gemstones. I'm not sure. Infinitely farmable, but not dupable. So not like I don't want to do like a thing where it's like TNT duping, because that, I mean, I actually, for farms, I don't mind TNT dupers, but like sand dupers, it's so like boring and lame. It's like I don't. It seems really really like not in the spirit of like Minecraft Redstone. Moving on, potions. The idea is, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but you've got all of these different gemstones, and then there's also going to be, I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure out how to do gemstones for these things as well. And these are all going to be, you can get them like in the dust, like I was talking about. Sort of brew that into a potion as opposed to just mixing it into the potion, like a water bottle or something. And then that way you can have the enchantment bonus as a potion effect. So it's like, I have wanted haste 2 potions like for so long in Minecraft, but you have to do a beacon. Like, I just want to give the players the choice. Like, in the long term, it's way better to actually grind for the gemstones and use the enchantments, but if you just don't want to do that, you don't have to. But then also, if you want to, have multiple conflicting effects at the same time, you could do that as well. The only thing is that they're not going to be as, like, I'll say potent as the enchantments. Like, they're not going to be as good as the enchantments, obviously, because that would be way overpowered. Moving on, mining, empty. But I do want to add my own mining system. There's going to be different levels of enchantments. Let me show y'all. Pristine, opulence, and prosperity. The idea, pristine, is just like having a wooden pickaxe versus an iron pickaxe to mine diamonds. Like, you can't mine the highest purity of gemstones without this enchantment on your pickaxe, but it's not going to be mutually exclusive with anything. Opulence increases your chances for higher purity gemstones. So the idea is, when you're mining gemstones, there's going to be like these little gemstone like shards, or not shards, but like the crystals. And those ones, if you see the crystal, like, you can mine it and you will get that crystal that you see. But there's also going to be blocks. And the idea is, you can either use like Silk Touch on that block. Excuse me, I'm like got something on my nose. You can use Silk Touch on that block to get the block if you just want to use the block for like building, etc., etc. Or you can use like a non-Silk Touch enchanted pickaxe. Fortune won't affect it, but this basically does. Well, no. This is like Fortune. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the way that Opulence will work is it's going to increase your. Hold on. Let me run that back, actually. I totally got lost. Okay. Pristine. Pristine is like diamond versus iron pickaxes. Like, it's, it's required for mining the highest level of gemstones. And then Opulence is going to act like a. Oh, it's not like Fortune. I guess there's not really anything, an enchantment similar to it, but it'll basically, when you mine a gemstone with a non-Silk Touch pickaxe, or sorry, a gemstone block with a Silk Touch pickaxe, it'll give you a higher chance, or it's not a higher chance to get higher level gemstones. It's more like it'll shift the spread of the gemstones that you're getting, like shift the averages of the higher level ones to a larger number, and the averages for the lower level ones to a lower number, just so that in general you're more likely to get higher level gemstones. And then one more thing also on that topic, I talked about gemstone blocks. Another system I'm going to have is, in terms of mining the actual gemstones, there's going to be, like the amethyst crystals, like an actual crystal thing that's just sort of like there. And if you see and mine that crystal, you're going to get that crystal. Like, it won't break apart or something, or obviously unless you're not using the pristine level that you need for it. Prosperity, or no, sorry. Normal Fortune or just non-Silk Touch pickaxes, when you mine a gemstone block, will give you like a random amount of dust and different levels of that gemstone, level purities or whatnot. I haven't decided on that, like what to call it, but different like levels of the purity of the gemstones. And it'll give you like a little bit of dust and like, maybe one lowest level, like second to lowest level gemstone, and maybe one like other slightly higher level gemstone. Like, it'll give you like a few different things just so that it feels a little more rewarding when you break the blocks. And then if you just want that block itself, obviously there's going to be a crafting recipe, but then you can also just mine it with Silk Touch. Prosperity is going to increase the number of things you get. So it's not going to change the drop rate. Like I said, shifting the chances for the different things. It's not going to change that. It's just going to change the quantity of items dropped. So if you get 3 dust and 2 level 1 gemstones using opulence, it'll give you like maybe 1 dust and 3 second highest level gemstones, something like that. Prosperity will, if you would normally have gotten 3 dust and 2 1 level, like second to last level gemstones, it'll give you like 5 dust and 3 second to last level gemstones. And actually, I didn't describe this one right enough. I would say, instead of the thing I said a second ago, opulence would give you more like maybe like, yeah, 1 dust and like, you know, a level 2 gemstone or something like that. Either way, very, very not fleshed out at the moment. I mean, obviously, you can tell. And I haven't quite thought it out yet. I'm kind of just rambling and sort of, I don't know. I'm just ripping this. Anyways, farming. Now, there are 2 enchantments. Where are they? Abundance and fruitfulness. This one is like a fortune for like the hoe crops. Fruitfulness is fortune for, I say axe crops, but it's just melons, because that's the only axe crop. I can't do pumpkins, because pumpkins is like, if you get 2 pumpkins, you can just place the 1 pumpkin down. It's basically duping. And so there's no point in creating, like, it's basically just melons. But it works, because it's like fruitfulness. Oh, get it? Anyways. But that's basically it. I do want to, like, I don't know. I want to apply more things to farming as a system, because I want to have this stuff affect all parts of the game. I don't want it to just be mining, and I don't want it to just be enchantment, so it's just combat, you know? But I want to have it beyond just, like, these 2 random enchantments. Just like how fishing, right now, all I've got is double hook and, where is it? It would be swashbuckler. I'm not going to look for it now, but I've only got like 2 fishing enchantments. I want to add more mechanics there, but for the time being, I just haven't like thought of any. Combat. Combat is the majority of the enchantments set out right now. So this first one, or actually, I'm not going to go through it, because I'm going through the stuff in a second anyways, once we get to M Creator. But the bunch of different stuff, obviously there's an elemental system, which is going to change a lot of the combat, what you focus on, different play styles, etc., etc. But what I don't want it to do, I don't want it to replace anything. So, like, I'm not going to add an item that's better than a bow. I'm not going to add a new kind of, like, quartz sword. It's made out of quartz. I'm not going to add stuff like that. That's just, like, better. Just because it's, like, you know, that would kind of... It wouldn't feel like it's integrating with vanilla. It would more feel like an add-on. And obviously, this is not a Vanilla Plus mod, because it's not... I mean, look at the citrine texture compared to the rest of the textures. It's not... It's a lot more high resolution. It's not a Vanilla Plus mod, but I still want it to feel like it's Minecraft, you know? But also, like, that it's not just this random add-on, you know? Either way. Building. I sort of talked about this a little bit with the Silk Touch, but the idea is I want to have... Obviously, the player can mine the gemstone blocks with Silk Touch, and the player will be able to place back down the sort of crystals that I talked about, like that you can, like, if you mine it, you get that 1 crystal. Player will also be able to place those. I also want a different, like, I don't know, like stages, I guess. Like how amethyst crystals have, like, the different stages. I want to create distinct stages in the block that you, or the thing that you place, because it's not a block. It's like it's like the plant model, I guess I would just call it. I don't know, like that, like X shape. Either way, I'm just gonna call them crystals from now on. So I want to create distinct stages in the crystal thing that you place on the ground, not just like the enchantments that it gives and the item like texture. And then also I want to create like display cases, or I mean, like, I don't. And again, I'm not. This is very, very like flimsy ideas, but I want to create a way to display them. So that could either be for certain ones, maybe like a glass case, or I said metal frame. Metal frame would maybe be more like if you want to display the item as opposed to the, like, if you want to display the item texture and not the placed item, if you know, you catch my drift. And then I think when I was writing here, metal frame, I was going for like smaller ones, and glass case was for bigger ones. I don't know, either way. And actually, custom glass, that just occurred to me that having different colored glass, or maybe like having like little sparkles or something in the glass, I don't know, thought that would be cool. And then also, obviously, custom full blocks, solid and transparent versions. That's just going to depend on what gemstone it is. Some gemstones are like solid, they're not opaque, they are opaque, they aren't transparent. And then some of them are like really transparent, like quartz tends to be sort of a middle ground. So does amethyst. Like amethyst will be really clear at the like sort of very, very tip, and then at the very bottom or the base, where it like sort of integrates with the rocks, it'll be a lot like cloudier, almost opaque. And so some gemstones will be in the middle. Some gemstones are like fully transparent, and then some are fully opaque, like calcite or something like that. And then redstone, this is where I was just talking about the, oh yeah, like right here. The idea is this is where I'm going to put like farms ideas, and then this is where I would put like specific redstone mechanic behavior beyond just how can I make the items in my mod infinitely renewable. Like I also want to have these affect redstone so that somebody could use it to make like a cool mini game, or I don't know, or change a normal vanilla Minecraft farm, something like that. And so the only example I could think of just off the spot was the different gemstone blocks changing note block sound / behavior. So maybe making them play like even higher pitches, or like giving them more range of pitches, or maybe making it so like a specific gemstone block will play a specific pitch. So you could have like 4 different pistons pushing 4 different kinds of gemstone blocks underneath a note block, and when that note block is triggered, the single note block will play a different note every time the block is different, maybe. I don't know. Either way, that is the gist of the spreadsheet. So now we're going to hop over to mcreator, and I'm going to sort of explain the gist of everything that I've done so far. Starting off, abundance, enchantment. This one's super duper simple. And actually, I'm going to skip over the actual enchantments just because they're very, very bare bones. All this does is it basically, I mean, it really doesn't do anything. I can change the level. I can name it. This only affects it spawning in the enchantment table. I can have it not, or like be allowed to combine with certain stuff or not combine. I can have it like, you know, whatever. Y'all can read this. Y'all don't need me to explain it. The only important thing is that I have to check this box to make sure that it doesn't like spawn in the like the enchanting table menu, because I want it to only be able to like be accessed through using the gemstones. That's the one thing. And I am going to add like multiple ways to like get the gemstones. You don't have to mine, maybe if you want to do a different way, whatever. But the one thing is I don't want it to just be like I'm adding new enchantments and they spawn in the enchantment table. I was like, whoa, cool. You know, that would be kind of lame. And then the rest of the stuff is just like balancing it. I don't want it to be villagers just for the same reason, and generate loot tables the same reason. I don't want it to like spawn in structures. But either way, that's sort of the gist on all the enchantments. And then the procedures are how it actually like makes the enchantment do something. So what this one does is whenever a block is getting broken, if the event / target entity is basically like the whatever entity caused the trigger to happen. And so in this case, the event / target entity is the one that's breaking the block. And then if they have the abundance enchantment in the item that's in their main hand, then it'll run all these code pieces. And the idea is with, never mind. I was just making sure that I didn't forget to add this stuff up here. I didn't. So the idea is now it'll check, oh, is it wheat? It'll give wheat. Oh, is it beetroot? It'll give beetroots. Is it carrots? It'll give carrots. If it's potatoes, it'll give potatoes. These two at the top, all it does is it just repeats the code to drop 1 wheat for every level of the abundance enchantment. So if you have abundance 1, it'll drop 2 wheat because it drops 1 normally. If you have abundance 2, it'll drop 3. 3, it'll drop 4, etc., etc. And I might have to balance that out a little bit later. That's one thing that I will sort of show is I haven't like the numbers for how powerful or not powerful enchantments are very temporary. The only reason that they're there is just so that I can like code it out and figure it out. I'm gonna do like balance changes once I'm like finished, but I just want to make sure I can get all the code like out there first and make sure it works, and then like figure out, oh, is this too OP? Is this not? Is this too underpowered? Stuff like that. But the idea is, I also want to sort of format a lot of the code in like this kind of way, where instead of having it, if get level of enchantment is this, then repeat it 2 times. If get level of enchantment is 3, repeat it 3 times. I want to make it sort of integrate the level of the enchantment into the code like this. That way, it's a lot easier for me to go around and do balance changes and whatnot, just so I don't have to go in and change the numbers. It's easier to remember. And this stuff down here, one more thing. I have it repeat this, but I don't have it repeat the seeds, just because I figured, like, the seeds would be a little OP, Like, if you get 4 seeds and also 3 seeds from one wheat plant, like, that's a little OP. So I figured just dropping an extra seed for both of those would make sense. And then these ones don't have seeds, so it doesn't really, like, obviously they drop more of the standard item, but they don't have, like, a second item to drop. So I figured do, like, a random chance for them to drop either baked potato or golden carrot as, like, the extra rare thing, whatnot. Only reason I didn't do these two is because there's not really, like, an item like that. Like, beetroot soup wouldn't make sense to drop from the beetroot plant. Neither would hay bales from, like, a single, wheat plant. So I just figured I would skip it. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, there's a much more efficient way of doing this. I'll show y'all just in case anybody wants to learn if they're doing the same thing. So if you want to have, like, a random chance, but, like, 20% chance, 10% chance for something to happen, the way I'm doing it right here is a lot less efficient. What we could actually, and I'll explain what I'm trying to do here first before I show you how you're supposed to do it. So I'm saying if the level of enchantment is 3, then it runs all of this code to have the random chance to spawn the bonus item. Like, that's just saying, I only want this to be accessible if you have the max level. So that adds, like, an extra incentive to getting the max level. But this is the actual code to have it spawn random stuff. So I created a local variable, like hitting plus, typing this in, making it a number. And then I set it to a random integer between 1 and 100. And then that basically, now this variable is a random something between 1 and 100. And then if the number that was generated by this piece of code is less than 10, then I want it to spawn the dropped item. And the reason that I do 1 and 100 and less than 10, it is a little bit easier to remember the numbers. All you have to do is just make this less than every single time, and then have this just be like the chance that you want it to be. So and actually, theoretically, you would do less than or equal to, because you want to include 10 in the possibilities. So now if it's, maybe I generate this, or I do this code 20 times, and it's like, it gives me 56, 97, 6, 14, 23, 29, whatever, etc. It will only run this code when it's below 10, and there's theoretically a 10% chance that the number will be below 10. That's the sort of the gist I'm trying to get at with this piece of code. However, it's not very efficient. So what we can do is just go to math and grab this block random 0, 1. And what this is like magical. What this does is it replaces this whole thing. Look at the difference. This versus this. Whenever this is run, it will do a random number between 0 and 1. You can change it to be whatever. I just do 0 and 1 because I don't know. We're learning about infinity in calculus class. E was pre-cal. Too much work. Anyways, what you want to do here then is just replace that. Obviously, though, random between 0 and 1 is always going to be less than 10. So you do have to change this to make it 0.1. If you have trouble remembering, like, wait, is what? Or, like, what amount? All you got to do is just multiply this, and this by 10. Or no. by 100. Yeah, my fault. By 100. So 0 times 100 is 0, obviously, but that's because we want it to start from 0 to 100. 1 times 100, 100. And then this number, 0.1 times 100, is 10. If y'all don't believe me, I'll show y'all. 0.1 times 100 is 10. And so that gives you your chance. And then now we can, oh my god, I'm struggling. Do that, get rid of this. And actually, I'm going to duplicate this same thing. All we got to do is swap this out. Perfect. Drop that underneath. Drop that underneath. And then, there we go. Bye-bye. Although, there's even one more thing that we can do. If I go to logic and I grab an and with external inputs, just because it looks a little more, easier to understand, I have two ifs, which is a little bit laggier than it needs to be, because this if block is slightly larger than the and block, which means the block renderer is rendering slightly more pixels. It's very, very nitty gritty, but once you start making a ton of different stuff, like I am, like this isn't even that much, it starts to lag a lot, and so the most optimization I can do, the better. So what we do is we say if both the random number it generates is less than 0.1 and the level of enchantment is 3, then we should do that. And now we can get rid of that if. Again, also making things as sort of not confusing as possible. So we want to also do the same thing here. Logic, boom, boom, and external inputs, boom, enchantment, random, boom. Ta-da! Magic. Now that's the abundance enchantment, and I actually kind of went on a tangent there for a while, but we're going to keep rolling. Alloys. This is something I haven't implemented in the game yet. I don't actually really have an idea for what they'll do, but I have a feeling this is going to be something that's going to create custom items, like custom tools. Not to detract from Minecraft tools, though. Like, I do want to make the Minecraft tools kind of the goats, and then have these alloy tools be, like, kind of niche-y. And so, for the average player, probably the Minecraft tools would be better. But, like, if you... let's say I make copper armor as an alloy, and if you really want to maximize movement speed, you would use copper armor, because if you have the jolt effect, copper armor makes you go faster. Stuff like that, where it's a little bit more focused in what it does. And so maybe you could also create like multiple sets. So you have your movement set, you have your like underwater exploration set, underwater building set, stuff like that. But again, try not to detract from like the Minecraft stuff. Obviously though, haven't quite gotten to that yet. That's a further project. Second enchantment, amplified. This one's pretty simple. All it is let me scroll back up here. It's in the arc section, so it has to do with the arc subclass. I mean, element. Whoops. The code is definitely a little bit complicated, or it looks a little bit complicated, but let me break it down real quick. So on player tick update means that whenever a player or whenever there's a player tick, if the player has the active potion effect jolt status effect, which is the status effect that will allow you to use a few different enchantments that are like within the arc elemental system, and this I'll explain in a second. The armor slot from slot 0, which is the boots, has the amplified enchantment. Then we want to set the movement speed of the player tick that we're detecting, which is the event target entity, to, and here's some math that's a little bit complicated. It doesn't really matter. Again, this fits within like the balance change thing. So the max level of amplified, I can't remember, maybe 2? Yeah, it's 2. So instead of saying like if the level is 2, then do this, or if the level is 1, then do this, I can sort of bake it into one formula, so it's a lot less laggy. Basically, this says that we want to take the level of the enchantment, multiply it by 0.4, and then add 0.9. And that gets the amount that we're going to modify the movement speed attribute by. So that means, I think it's like 0.13 for level 1, 0.17 for level 2. And then, once we do that, we want to set this logic to true. And again, I'll explain this in a second. This is important for the second part. Because of the way attributes work, once you like set the attribute, it's like that forever unless you change it back to where it was. So the second piece of code, if you, oh, whoops. Okay, actually, I forgot to grab one thing. We want to set this to not. So this piece of code is saying if we don't have the jolt status effect, so, and it doesn't really make sense, but if not has the player that we're detecting the tick on the jolt status effect, and the logic, whatever, this logic equals true, and we don't have the enchantment, and actually this should be, here, wait, let me reorient this a bit, because we want to have an or here. So let's say if the logic to initiate the second piece of code is true, and either the player doesn't have the jolt status effect or doesn't have the armor from the slot isn't the amplified enchantment, then we should run this code. What these two things are saying is if the jolt effect runs out, obviously we want to make sure that the amplified enchantment doesn't work anymore, because it will only work when you have the jolt status effect. And then this one is saying that if you take the armor off, you can't have the effect as well. So like you can't get the jolt status effect and then put on the boots for a second, take them off, and then put on a different pair of boots with another enchantment. Like, I want to make it kind of like mutually exclusive. And then here we want to set the base value of the movement speed back to the normal amount. This looks like a terrible number. It's only because that's the vanilla movement speed, which I don't get why it's such a weird number, but touche. Either way, and I'll explain this real quick. What we want to make sure that we avoid is overlapping with other movement speed attribute modifying like pieces of the mod. And so if there's a separate enchantment or effect or some other separate mod event that also modifies the movement speed, we want to make sure that we are only and actually wait, I just realized something. We got to fix this too, because okay, let me explain it first. So we want to make sure that this code to reset the movement speed back to where it was before we increased it only occurs if this has been set to true, which means that this first piece of code has been executed. Because obviously if the player doesn't have the jolt status effect and doesn't have the armor in their slot, but they have, some other enchantment that increases their movement speed attribute, we won't want the code to immediately set it back to normal because they don't have these two things. Although I need to change one more thing. We want to get two. Oh, wait. Here's what we do. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. Math minus. Oh, no. Attributes. Okay. So what I just did was, now we're saying that if the effect runs out or if the player takes off the boots, then we want to set their movement speed attribute to the amount of the movement speed attribute amount that they have currently minus the amount that we added right here. Because if I set that attribute back to the default, there could be something else that this enchantment was stacking with, and setting it back to the default would sort of ruin that and mess that up. And then once we do this code, we set it to false, saying that the movement speed enchantment is no longer active, and that lets us go back and start it up again. Now, moving on, antidote enchantment. This one is incredibly simple. That's it. All we're saying is if the player has the poison effect and they have this enchantment on armor slot 3, we remove the poison effect. And the idea, obviously, with this enchantment is basically just to make poison, like, you don't take damage from poison. Kind of similar to there's an item in Terraria, I think it's called the Bazaar or something like that, and it makes you immune to poison. The one stipulation is that I don't plan on keeping this as an armor thing. What I want to do, and actually this is a little complicated, but there's a mod plugin I added which allows me to create something called a curio. And curios are basically like accessories in Terraria. So it would be like a ring or a cloak or a cape or crown, something, I don't know, something like that. Necklace, pendant, amulet, something of that nature. But it's not like an armor, it's more like a charm or like a, I don't know, something like that. Because I just, the more the merrier, the more stuff the merrier. And the idea is certain enchantments don't really work as a specific armor enchantment. Like poison doesn't really make sense on chestplate, or I mean, antidote doesn't really work well on chestplate, head, leggings, or boots. Really, like amplified works with the boots because it's like you're running faster, so your boots like should be faster. So for ones like this, I want to put this onto the actual curio item. Only issue is I haven't figured out how to make the curios work yet. If I do this and I just hit test, it won't. What? Oh, wait, hold on. And then I do this. I don't know why it says that, but it says the API must be enabled. So we can't actually make curio slots yet, but we're figuring that out. Moving on either way, moving swiftly on. Cure enchantment. This is like the upgraded version of the antidote enchantment, which is actually something I didn't talk about. But a plan I have is I'm going to have, but even for the custom enchantments, I'm going to have like upgraded versions, not just like level 1, level 2, but an enchantment that does something in addition to what the previous enchantment would do. So Cure, what it does is not only does it make you immune to poison, poison actually heals you slightly. Another idea I had, I'm not sure if it's still on here. Recovery and vitality. So recovery would have decreased your time to initiate natural regeneration. Vitality, which was like the upgrade, would have decreases the time, but it's like increases the rate at which you naturally regenerate the longer you've been out of combat for, I guess. And so it adds an extra mechanic to it, kind of like using the Tinkerer's Workshop in Terraria, where you can like build different you can use certain accessories to build on each other. Either way, the way this works is a little bit more complicated though. So what happens? This is the exact same as the antidote code, although the only thing we do is we add a cure effect, which is a custom effect I'll talk about in a moment. We want to give it the same level as the poison and the same ticks as the poison. That way, it actually feels like the poison is healing you. It doesn't feel like you just get this effect whenever you have poison. And then the cure effect, it's obviously what you get. This is temporary, so is this. But the one thing is, whenever the cure effect is has an active tick, we want to increase the player's health. And this is really complicated math. Or no, it's not really complicated. It's just really confusing math. It's not even confusing. It just looks gross. But let me show you in Desmos what I did. So my idea was I wanted to have sort of an exponential decrease, and which was hard to do. I wanted to have it let's say have a straight line between these 2 points and then have it curve to hit this point. But I couldn't really figure it out, which is no biggie, to be honest. It's not really a big deal. This works essentially the same. So I actually have 2 exponential functions, and the first exponential function, it's actually, and this whole stick is a piecewise function, but the idea is the first exponential function is only, runs between 1 and 3, so that's why it says 1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3. We want to have this function go, which is the function that tells the line to go from this point to this point, curve in that way. It gives the line its behavior, and then between 3 and 18, which is here and here, I want to have it decrease exponentially a lot less. So what this ends up doing is, if you're at really low health, poison will help you regen pretty quick. But then once you reach half health, it'll sort of slow down, which is about here. So it's I think, yeah, right here it's at about a little under half of where it was regenerating here. And then as you get closer to 20, it sort of decreases. And then once you hit 20, it just stops. And then what that does is, or the way it works is you can sort of integrate it into the code here. And so you can see I have the piecewise where 1 is less than or equal to x, which is the current health. That's sort of the input variable. And then the current health, or the x, is less than or equal to 3. And then we want to set the health to, and then this is our function. Again, current health is the x. We're raising this number to the x. And then the same shtick for the second piecewise function. It's actually kind of cool how you can see the function represented in the Minecraft code. I don't know. I liked it. Thought it was cool. Either way, that's the cure effect. Moving on swiftly, we're going to look at double hook. If I can open it. There we go. So, double hook is a little more complicated, but the way it works is, obviously we've got the sort of base enchantment, and we've got a procedure that is, that isn't optimized. Okay. Let's fix this real quick. So, math, random 0 to 1, logic is less than this, then we want to do that. Ooh, we also need an and to check for the enchantment. Whoops. Ooh, no we don't. Wait, do we? Hold on, I'm trying to think. For the time being, we're just going to have an extra piece of code that's going to check to see whether or not the item in main hand has the right double hook enchantment, but I do think there is a way to bake in a check for the enchantment into this code, but okay, I'll get to that later. Either way, what this one does, just has a random chance that changes with the level of the enchantment, so it goes up to 3, similarly to like a Luck of the Sea or Lure. Like, I felt like it just made more sense. The one thing is that we have to, boom, it's 0.0675. Does that, or no, it has to be 2 zeros. Because, let me just make sure. 0.000675 times 100 is 0. Okay, no. We want it to be 6.75. So, 0.0675 times 100 gives us 6.75. Perfect. Okay. Either way, if both of these are true, and once the player fishes an item, it'll execute this command, loot spawn, and then that loot spawn will reference a loot table, which has been sort of created right here. Now, this is it looks very messy, and I did have to do some manual coding just to make it work, but it's actually remarkably simple. Let me go here. Oh, I can't click on it? That's kind of lame. Come on Google Sheets. Boom. Okay, so this is actually a really cool website. It's called mizzodegithub.io loot table. And it basically, I mean, again, this is all really simple. I could, if I wanted to, do this and write it out myself, because it's not, I mean, it's all very obvious what it is. What type? Oh, it's an item. What's the name? It's fishing rod. What's the weight? It's 2. Functions. What's the function? Sets the damage. What's the damage? The min is this and the max is that. It's really, really obvious, I think. But what we can do is just get it done a lot faster. You know, it's just a lot easier and a lot quicker to do it this way. It's also a little bit easier to sort of get it in my understand it in my head, which makes it happen all that much faster. I'll explain a few of the different sort of details in the loot table itself. So the way the weight works, it basically takes all of the weights from every item that you put in. So every weight item or weight number, it will add them all together. And then it'll take the specific item's weight and divide it by that total weight number. And so that will give you a relative % chance of that item being spawned. And it's also a lot easier if you always make your weight add up to 100. When I was doing this, it didn't add up to 100. I think it adds up to 1,000 though. which is like again like a 10 round number, so it's pretty easy to get. This 510, I think it's like 51%, 21%, 1.7%, 11%, pretty easy to remember. This enchant with levels, this just enchants it randomly. Set damage, just its durability. Other than that, nothing much. The one thing is, again, this is if you want to sort of do a similar thing, to create a loot table like this. I did still make it in here, and then once you finish doing this, you just copy this code, and then you would go into you would create, I guess, I'll show y'all. You create a new loot table, and then you would make sure the name, registry name is whatever you want to name it. Make sure it's fishing, or whatever this loot table is meant to be for. Close it, and then if it were still there, you would right click on it and click lock code. That basically turns it from that other menu you saw a second ago into just the code. And that also makes it so mcreator can't change your code if there's like an update, or because mcreator normally goes through and compiles your code and does all this stuff to it, because that's what software is meant for, because it makes it a lot easier. But sometimes you want to have it very specific. Field enchantment. Oh, whoops, I forgot to put the enchantment here. Double hook. There we go. All right. Anyways, elemental effects. This, I actually already talked about this. All that happens is we've got this jolt status effect. This is actually the current texture for it. Let me know if it's butt ugly or not. The way this effect works, though, is whenever the effect is started / applied, we want to change the attribute of the player's attack speed. Because I want to make every one of the different elemental effects have like a very small base buff. And so with volatile, I think you take more damage but deal more damage. With radiant, you like regenerate or heal a little bit faster. And then with this one, your attack speed is a little bit faster. Although I might change this to make like jump height or something, I don't know. Because again, it's supposed to focus on mobility, not melee, but whatever. I digress. And then whenever the effect expires, we just do the same thing and just have the attack speed go back to normal. The one thing is, actually I do need to go back through here and use the actual attributes code, because it's a little bit better and more efficient than executing a command. I digress. Very, very simple. And again, it's the same deal for all of these. So volatile, we've got, actually volatile doesn't change any of your attributes. Oh, wait. Oh, this one is a little bit different. So before an entity is hurt, we set the attack damage of the source entity, which is the entity that's causing the entity to be hurt. And then we want to add a little bit of attack damage and then wait a second and then remove that attribute buff. And actually, I'm going to set this to be like 5 ticks or something. Because it's theoretically that an enemy could attack you faster than that. And so we want to make sure that this doesn't interrupt the a pretty fast attack cycle or something. I don't know what I would call it. And then, oh, and this is actually, this is kind of messed up. We want to make sure there's an if around this. So that if potion event / target entity volatile, then we want to set the source entity. And then, and then here, wait, watch this. If we duplicate this, because again, actually, I'm realizing I forgot when I made this. I forgot to make this code so that the player who has the effect also deals more damage. I only set it so that the player receives more damage. When all I have to do is just change these out. So if the source entity has the potion volatile, we want to change. Oh wait, before entity is hurt, if the source entity has the boom, then we want to change. Oh no, we don't. We keep these as source entity, I think. So wait, if the event target entity has the volatile effect, so if the entity that's getting hurt has the volatile effect, then we want to increase the damage of the thing attacking it so it takes in more damage. If the thing causing the damage has the effect, oh yeah, no, we just leave them both as source entity. Never mind. So that works. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Save mod element. See, now I'm glad I'm going through these. I'm catching mistakes I made. Let's see if there's any mistakes here. Radiant effect. I actually was pretty happy with that texture. The other textures are kind of meh. Volatile takes severe inspiration from Destiny 2's Repul, or one of the perk like images. I can't remember what it's called. And then Jolt is just like a lightning bolt. But Radiant is like a little fire thing. And I thought, where is it? I thought it was like pretty cool. Because I did it like on my own. Doesn't have an outline, because if I did the outline, it didn't like look right. Anyways, this one, all it is if the health is less than, or if the current health is less, oh wait. So if the current health is not less than 1, wait. If the current health isn't less than 1, so if it's greater than 1, wait, what? Hold on. This makes no sense. What am I doing? If the current health of the event/target entity is less than 1. Oh, no. Here's what we want to do. Max health. Why did I put 1 there? If the current health, and then let's get rid of this knot. I don't know why the knot's there. So if the current health is less than the max health, then we want to increase the health by a very small amount. Again, all these effects are supposed to be very, very small because they're more so meant. The player's not meant to focus on the effects themselves as the ends of the means. They're supposed to focus on the effects, like the enchantments they can activate. Either way. And then actually, let's see, is less than. Okay, no, that should be perfect. Okay. Moving on swiftly, the Empowered Enchanting Table. Oh, this is pretty complicated, right? No, it's not. Block is very simple. I use this texture just so I can like tell what I'm looking at, and also so I can tell if I decide to put the mod out that if I haven't made a texture for this, it's very obvious that I haven't made a texture for it. Bounding boxes, normal. Properties, normal. There's really nothing that's special about this other than that it has a special GUI. So over here, GUI, really, really simple. All it is, I mean, it's almost like the smithing table, and I haven't created some nice pictures and stuff for it. It looks kind of lame for the time being, but you've got your item slot, you've got your gemstone slot, and then enchantment button turns it into the enchanted item. The way the actual code works is, here we go. So this is really complicated, but what we want is if the number of items from slot 0, which is, let me have the GUI open so I can reference it. So if the number of items from slot 0, which is this, is 0, so if there's nothing in slot 0, then we run all these code. That's just making sure that you don't accidentally delete an item that you left in slot 0, because all the stuff that we're enchanting is non-stackable, so there shouldn't be a reason to put more stuff in that slot. Moving on. What I had to do here is I had to create sort of like division of labor almost in terms of all these different procedures, because if I had all of the procedures in one procedure, I guess tab, I don't know, it was really laggy. Funny part is, now that I split it up into a bunch of different procedures, it doesn't lag as much, which makes no sense because the same amount of code is in the mod. So it should lag the same, but it doesn't. I don't know. And it's nothing to do with the code. It's more so to do with the rendering engine they use for the code workspace, which is stupid. Either way, besides the point. The way it works is if the item from slot 2, which is the gemstone slot, is tagged as B gemstones, then we want to call a procedure for B gemstones. And that tag, B gemstones, it's just alphabetical. To make it easier, if I want to use commands and I want to search through tags in commands, it's alphabetical. Obviously, not all the letters are here because I don't have a gemstone for each letter of the alphabet. Some letters, they just got skipped. There's no Z gemstones that I have at the moment. I'm sure I will in the future. Anyways, so then that'll sort of make the different procedures for the different gemstones happen. Excuse me. And then let's go back here. Whoopsie daisy. Here. And then I'll show you an example of the A gemstones. What it does is if the gemstone slot has amber and the the item that you're actually enchanting, slot number 1, has fortune 3 already in it, then we want to run the code. And the reason I'm doing that is because, like I said earlier, I don't want to have the gemstones bypass the enchanting system. I want to have them actually build on it. And so what this does is it requires the player to already interact with the vanilla enchanting system, and then they can use the gemstones to make stuff even cooler. So it's not like I'm replacing anything. What this does, all it does is it just copies the item from slot 1, and it puts it in slot 0, which is the output slot. And then, once it's done that, it removes the specific enchantment fortune from the item in slot 0, which is going to be like the output slot where it is, because we want to get rid of the fortune 3 that's already there, and then we want to add a new enchantment, which is fortune 4, to the same slot that's in the output. So, I've got a bunch of pieces of code here. These are all for the different A gemstones. They do exactly the same thing. The only thing at the bottom here is that if the number of items from slot 0 is greater than 0, so like if there's something in here, then we want to remove one item from slot 1 and 2. That's a really efficient way of doing it, as opposed to every time that I run this code, I have to add a remove 1 and remove 1 from slot 1 and 2 underneath here. Like that's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 extra blocks as opposed to 2. And there's not since you can't input items into here manually, like there's no way that this would ever break unless you like really messed with it, at which point it's like, that's kind of your fault. Anyways, I'm not going to go over every single one of these. They're all identical pretty much. But moving on, fiber. So this is a new, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to incorporate this idea into the mod, but I wanted to have sort of almost like a hardcore mode where, I don't know, almost like an RL craft situation where it's like everything is just harder to get. And I might make it so it's like a specific biome. It's like you can't get sticks and string normally. And like in order to craft tools, you have to use fiber, which you can only get from grass, and you can only get grass clumps to make fiber, whatever. And the idea is behind all this whole system. I'll explain this system here too. So it includes like fiber, lush dirt. Let me see, short grass, toolsmith mat. I think there's maybe one more thing. No, actually that's it. The idea of these are just all the different blocks that would spawn in that biome. They're very, very bare bones. I haven't actually really focused on them in a while. Toolsmith mat would be my like custom crafting thing, which replaces the crafting table, which also focuses to limit what you can actually craft. The GUI is just crafting table. Toolsmith mat. This is pretty complicated, and it kind of sucks because there is no real way to make this more efficient. This is the only way to do it. Although, I'm not entirely sure, because I did see there was a plugin I added which does custom recipes. So I'm going to mess around with that. Fingers crossed that can solve my issue both with the empowered enchanting table and with the toolsmith mat. But for the time being, this is how it's supposed to look. The idea is here, though, that if you put the right number of stuff in the different slots, so maybe you have a stick in slot 1, which is there, and then fiber in slots 0 and 5, which are these ones here, and then like a quartz crystal is supposed to go in slot 4, I think. Yeah. Then I remove one of all those items from those slots, and then I add one of this like quartz dagger item to there it goes. Primitive quartz knife to the 9th output slot. Same thing with the little pickaxe item. These were the very first things I added before I kind of knew what my idea was, and so they might just get removed, or they might have their own system. I might like a certain biome that's like a hardcore where you can you can either spawn in that biome and like, you know, once you can get out of the biome, then it's like you're like beating like the early game, so you're in like post game, or I don't know. It's an idea I have, but this isn't really a huge part of the mod at the moment anymore. One thing, minerals, metals, these are like the alloys, except they're not alloys. They're actually minerals. There's a big, big freaking darn difference. Pestle. This is a very, very simple thing. Ooh, has a special block, just like the empowered enchanting table. Only thing is that it has actually like a custom model, and I'll show you, or actually I'll show you all in a second. But the GUI, super duper simple. Let me open this up real quick so you can see. So the idea is you can use it to crush different dye types. So you could use it to like crush maybe a rose bush, and it would give you some red dye and maybe some fiber or some grass clumps, something like that. Or you can also use it to crush different gemstones. So if you have maybe one of the highest level gemstone, but you want to grow a ton of different level gemstones, but you need the gemstone dust in order to put them in the vats to grow more gemstones, you would crush that and it would give you like 20 gemstone dust or some equivalent amount that's like fair. The idea is should be the same with the code that I did. Yeah. This is like just randomizing. And again, I'm using like variables to do the randomization, which I need to fix this at some point. But again, this is sort of randomizing the amount of stuff you get because I want it to sort of be random a little bit. And then this is just doing a slight randomization of how many things you get from breaking down the different kinds of quartz crystals. But that's the idea behind the pestle. We've got a few more things left. Quartz. This is also, this can be sort of an example of the system I have, or I'm planning to do for the different gemstones and the gemstone blocks. Very bare bones at the moment, but we've got a special loot table, which gives you a different sort of chance to get items with and without silk touch. We've got a special recipe for it. Again, I'm not sure if this is the final recipe or not. Very, very temporary at the moment. We've got, this is like the gemstone block. We've also got the different quartz tools. You can see the texture. It looks kind of cool. I was actually very happy with it when I made it. We've also got the rough quartz block. So this would maybe be more of like an external block. It would be like sort of further to the outside of a quartz outcrop, crystal, geode, whatever the structure would be. This form, what is it? Recipe, I'm not very happy with. It kind of looks weird, but whatever. Like I said, very temporary. Rough quartz gemstone. This is just one of the items that you can get. It's like a lower level compared to the normal quartz gemstone. Moving swiftly along, however, we've also got quartz dust, which is like the lowest level. Repulsor brace. Now we're back to enchantment. So what this one does is it has, I think, yeah, up to 2 levels, and it basically says if you haven't been in combat for a certain amount of time, then you'll like regenerate a few extra absorption hearts. And like it was pretty complicated creating a timer to do that. I had to look up a YouTube video, but it did this pretty freaking awesome. I previously had a much more complicated design, which was a little more finicky, didn't actually always work all the time. It's very frustrating, and I was able to compact it down into this. I cannot for the life of me remember if it was a YouTube video or like a post on a forum or something. It was probably a YouTube video. I searched up like timer in mcreator procedure. So if you want to find whoever that was, look up the video and just search what I said. I don't really know what I searched for. Again, I don't remember, but that's besides the point. If the player has the enchantment in slot 2, which is the chest plate, and they have the volatile effect, and the timer is 0, then we want to add these absorption hearts depending on the level of the enchantment. So level 1 gives you like 4, level 2 gives you like 7, I think, for a lot of ticks. And then if the like number timer equals 0, which it has to be for this to activate. Then we want to set the timer back up to 200. So like every time it's activated, we set it back to 200. That's also why this is 205 compared to 200, so that if you still haven't taken damage after 201 ticks of the effect being active, this will have gone all the way down, so it'll reset, and so you'll have that little bit of extra sort of leeway so that you don't lose the effect like randomly in the middle of this sort of transition. And then also we want to constantly be setting the timer to one less every single time, and that just sort of decreases it by 1 per tick. And then also, if the health is less than 20, we want to wait, a few ticks and then set this timer to 200 again. So if the current health is less than their max health, we don't want the absorption hearts to spawn, because again, I only want the absorption hearts to spawn if the player is already at max health. Moving on from that, we've not got a ton left. Scorch enchantment. This one looks really complicated, actually really simple. So if you have the radiant effect, there's a random 15% chance for you to spawn like a fire explosion on an enemy that you kill. All of this just does particles, just spawns some flame particles so that it looks kind of cool. And then there will be like an explosion, and then it'll also set the enemies within a certain radius, I think it's like 5 blocks, on fire for like a short amount of time. Very, very simple. Awesome. Shadow Shot. This one is actually identical to Volt Shot and whenever I make Incendiary Payload in the future. All it is just random chance. If you're, I think the Volt Shot, oh wait, well actually, okay, I definitely duplicated this from the Volt Shot enchantment. Like this procedures, I duplicated it from the Volt Shot enchantment, but I forgot to change the actual enchantment checks so that it gives you the right one and asks for the right potion effect. There we go. So yeah, what we really want is random chance that's between either 10 or 20 depending on the level. Levels go from 1 to 2, and so 10% chance or 20% chance. And if you have the enchantment sort of in your hand, then we want to add the volatile effect with a normal level for not a huge number of ticks, but it's that's like 5-ish seconds, maybe 7.5, not sure. And again, I'm gonna show y'all. Obviously, the Volt Shot is identical because I copy and pasted it and forgot to change it. Short Grass. This is just a cool little plant item I wanted to add to the custom bomb I'm going to make. Spelunker enchantment. This is one that I'm not super confident on whether or not it's finished. It's pretty complicated the way I decided to work around it, but what ended up happening was I decided on a player tick update, if the level of the enchantment is 1, then I want to place this special block, which has a very obvious texture. I'm going to change it so that it has no texture later. But I just have it as an obvious texture so I know where it's placing these blocks at the coordinates of the player. And we want to spawn a particle just so it kind of like the particle spawn one just makes it look like there's kind of like a glowy particle like coming from your helmet. These blocks also are all light emitting blocks, and so this one, which is the level 3, I think this is the level 3 one, right? Yeah, this is the level 3 enchantment one. It has a luminance of 15, which is the maximum level. But say the level 1 block only has a luminance of 5. So higher level enchantments should give you higher levels of like light spawning. Also, all 3 of these blocks don't have like collision, so when they're being spawned on your player, it's like not pushing you around or anything. The only issue is getting the blocks to delete. So whenever any of these blocks, where is it? Yes, so on tick update, which is like constant, the block is doing this Spelunker enchantment light source procedure deletion. Very, very long-winded name, but all it does is it just removes the block. So on a tick update, the block gets removed. That is to make sure that we're not leaving a trail of light. I want to make it seem like the helmet is like a dynamic light emitting light in the world. Obviously, there's no way to do that. like without doing some weird solution like this, because Minecraft by default doesn't really like doing light emitting stuff. But it works for the time being, and it's not super buggy or laggy, so, you know, it is broken, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Swift Strike. This one's pretty simple. Whenever a player left clicks with an item, in this case it would be a sword, then we check to see if it has the enchantment, and if it does, we want to change the attribute to the, what is it? Yeah, set to 4.5, and then when a player left clicks, maybe they left clicked with the Swift Strike sword, and then they swap over to a pickaxe, and they click again, the game's going to check and say, well, if they don't have the enchantment Swift Strike, so if not has the enchantment Swift Strike, then it's going to set it back to 4.0. And again, I'm going to use an attribute block to actually make this happen, not the execute command, just because it's like, you know, that's kind of, it's a little laggier. Anyways, Toolsmith mat, we already went through that. The only thing is I decided to create 2 different variants just because I thought it would look kind of cool. So there's a Toolsmith mat and there's a Hide Toolsmith mat. Hide Toolsmith mat is a little bit like darker, or like you've got this texture, which is like the normal crafting table, and then you've got this one, which is a little bit like more washed out. I just thought it would look kind of cool. So it looked a little nicer. And then also there's going to be a new item called Hide. Or no, there isn't. Never mind. I just set it so that you could use Rabbit Hide. Whoops. And then also I have to have it so you can use string and Rabbit Hide, which is, or string and fiber, because I'm trying to make it parity with my own stuff. And then Volt Shot enchantment. That's it. So those are all the enchantments, procedures, and stuff. All of these gemstones are the ones that relate to the vanilla enchantments in this spreadsheet. The ones that actually make sense, like, you know, Tanzanite. It might be here. I'm not sure. But it doesn't actually, yeah, it's not in the mod just because Multi-Shot 2, oh, actually, no, Multi-Shot 2 is one I want to do. But it's, like, really difficult. Oh, my God. For the same reason. You can't change vanilla stuff with mCreator, which sucks. Either way, it is what it is. One thing, though. Haste Potion. I was talking about it earlier. This was sort of a bit of like a test run, proof of concept for the potions system. My idea is I want to make sure that it works. What this does is it just adds the haste effect when you drink it, and it has a recipe for hematite dust is the recipe that brews it. Hematite dust would be the lowest like level of enchant. No, what? Oh my gosh, too many words. The lowest gemstone level for the efficiency 5 enchantment. So like efficiency 5, I'm not gonna make an efficiency 5 potion. I'm just gonna make it a haste potion, but it does like the same thing. And then other than that, there's like a few different gemstone items, whatever. Opulence, Pristine, and Prosperity enchantments. All 3 of these, I'm just kind of leaving them for the time being because I haven't coded any of the gemstone like mining mechanics yet. All I'm doing is just making the enchantments work, and so there's not really anything I can do with them at the moment. They're just empty enchantments. There's not really any procedures associated with them. And then Swashbuckler is actually the most recent one I just did. I think I just finished it like earlier today. Whenever it's basically identical to the double hook enchantment. Whenever a player fishes an item, there's a random, chance, or if a random number is less than or equal to the level times 3 plus 1, then we'll spawn the loot. The way this works is we'll take the level of the Swashbuckler enchantment, multiply it by 3. So let's say we're level 3. Then we multiply that by 3. So we have 9, and we plus 1. So now it's 10. And then if this... And oh, wait. Whoops. Times 0.03 and plus 0.01. Okay. Yeah, because a random number is between 0 and 1 is always going to be smaller than 3 times whatever plus 1. So now it should mean that if you have level 1, it's a 4% chance. Level 2, it's a 7% chance. Level 3, it's a 10% chance to get this code to run. And then once this code runs, it just spawns a piece of loot from this custom loot table I made. I already showed y'all how I did it. So again, very, very simple. This is just the treasure like loot table from like the Minecraft like treasure chests that you find through like the not treasure hunts, the buried treasure maps, not treasure hunts. It's not like an Easter egg hunt. That basically just gives you a chance to fish out loot from the like treasure loot chests. Just because I don't know, if somebody doesn't really wants to AFK for a Heart of the Sea, they can AFK for a Heart of the Sea. But anyway, that is everything. And oh my god, I've been recording for a long time. How long have you been recording for? Oh my god, almost an hour and a half. Long recording. Probably unedited. Sorry. Ooh. Let me actually show y'all a few things before we go. Mostly unedited. I'm sorry, but that's because this is not going to be a very, I don't know. Like, it's not that it's going to be a low effort channel, but I'm not putting my effort into creating videos. I'm going to put my effort into creating the mod, and then I'm just going to kind of tell y'all. Like, if y'all don't want to watch, like, if y'all don't want to watch me talk about the mod, like, don't. Just wait until the mod comes out, and then play it. And I'll probably, on the same channel, I'll probably later make, like, actual videos explaining how the different mechanics work and whatnot. I just wanted to sort of get a baseline, just sort of get, you know, this channel kick-started, because the sooner I get it started, you know, the less stuff I have to end up doing in this introductory video. So the reason this video is an hour and a half long is because I took so long to do it, and the longer I waited, it's like, well, it's now even more work, and now it's even more work, and now it's even more. It's like not worth it. So I'm trying to bite the bullet and do it now. So I'm going to show you all a few different things. So give at S, or actually no, some of them should be in the creative menu. So we've got the gemstone cutter, pestle, toolsmith mat, and hide toolsmith mat. I don't know why the hide, I haven't figured out a texture for that. It's whatever. Also, this is like a 2D texture. It looks gross, and so is this, and this, and this. They all look gross. I'm going to figure out a 3D thing at some point. But this, I wanted to have, again, this is like me having to create my own custom solution, just like the empowered enchanting table. I want to have the stonecutter functionality in my gemstone system, but I can't. So I have to create my own stupid custom block that has the little corners messed up, because I don't know why the corners are messed up. I tried to fix it. I did it like 4 times, and it's always messed up. I don't know. I don't know why it's only the corners. It's only the corners. No other part of the... I don't know. Either way, the way this works is we've got... Let's see. It should be in ingredients. Let's grab a chunk of rough quartz gemstone. So if we want to cut a chunk of rough quartz... Whoops. Okay, that didn't do anything. Wait, which... I can't... Okay, now I'm forgetting, like, which one does which. Here, let's actually, like... Let's get, like, a lot. So I can, like, mess around. So, wait. Okay, so I crushed quartz gemstone into quartz dust, and that gives me 5. And I crushed this. Okay. So, wait. This one's supposed to give me more. I don't know if it does. Whatever. And then it's supposed to be that... Oh, I just got rid of everything. Whoops. It's supposed to be that, like, whenever I use... if I use the cut button with this one, then it turns into the other one, but I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Also, it's kind of annoying. If I close out the menu, it just stays in there. I have to break it to have it go. But then also, you saw there's the little extra parts of the gross texture in there, in the breaking texture. Gotta fix that. Anyways, I also want to show y'all the few custom textures I have currently made. The only issue is I'm not good enough at pixel art to make them... Actually, let's go full screen. Let me make sure that we're also on game capture here. M creator, here we go. So I'm not good enough at creating pixel art to make the... Oh, M creator... Oh, we want to do Forge single player. That's what we want. There we go. Okay. Yeah, no. Issue is I don't... oh my god, I'll say it for a 3rd time. I'm not that good at doing pixel art. I've only sort of just started watching videos and learning how to do it. And so I'm not good enough to make these textures, like these kinds of textures, in like the 16 by 16. It's just like such little space to try and communicate that information which is like this thing is supposed to look kind of shiny and also kind of like translucent and whatever. And obviously this is not amber. This is supposed to be citrine. Do I have citrine? I do. There we go. Citrine. So yeah, the 3 items I have done, and I'll drop them. Actually, let me do item frames so that they don't spin around. Boom, boom, and boom. So we've got a topaz, quartz, and citrine. They look out of place. Of course they do. They're like higher resolution than the rest of the stuff. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I might. Okay, there's 2 choices I can make. I can either just leave it, or there's 3. I can either just leave it like that and just have these textures be way more higher resolution than the rest of the stuff, and it looks kind of weird. Or I can see if I can make them 16 by 16, which would be difficult. Or I can make a texture pack for Minecraft that's 64 by 64 and have it look good and make it for every single item in the game to have parity, which would suck. But those are my options. I don't have a ton of options. Either way, moving on. Now we've got the Toolsmith mat. Let me show y'all how it works. So, Toolsmith mat, place on the ground. It sounds like a mat. It doesn't sound like, dirt or whatever. Ooh, I need a stick as well. So if we have a stick, 2 fiber, and a quartz thing there, it doesn't pop up here. There is a way to make that happen. I just didn't do it when I made this at first. Craft, quartz knife. Ta-da! Cute little thing. It's what? Why? Oh, it's because I'm in creative. I think it's tax. I tried to make its attack speed faster, but I'm not super sure. 1.5, 1.6. Okay, yeah. So its attack speed is slightly faster than normal, even though it doesn't deal a ton of damage. I think it's like a stone sword. Yeah. Either way, that's how that works. And then what else? Ooh. Okay. So /give at s. Okay, I have to do weak underscore m. Oh. Empowered enchanting table. That was really difficult. All right. Oh, love that place sound. So the way this works is I'll grab like a sword, and then ingredients. Let's grab. What do we want to add? Let's add. Oh my god. And see, like I can't. Where's obsidian? There we go. Obsidian shard. Boom, boom. Oh, it didn't work. I was worried it wouldn't work. But that is something actually I'm going to have to work on again with the where is it? Empowered enchanting table. I was kind of worried that wouldn't work. Call procedure. Where's the O one? O gemstones. Yeah. Oh well. Maybe I can't have it not all be in the same one. Oh, but that sucks. There's got to be a way to make it so that I can have it not be all in one thing. Maybe I can do that with the new recipe thing. Either way, well, the way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to take this obsidian shard and the netherite sword. Oh, it could be. Hold on. Oh my god. Wait, tell me this works. Almost. Okay, so the idea is this is meant to enchant this with sharpness 6. It's supposed to hop there. It's supposed to take the items out of there. It doesn't work right now. That's just sort of the gist of how everything works when you're making a mod like this. But that is, yeah, that's it. That's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see y'all next week. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to focus on. Every week when I do this little update video, I'm going to try and identify something that needs to be worked on for the next week. And then hopefully by that next week, oh my god, my FOV is killing me. Hopefully by that next week, I'll have done that thing and maybe more or whatever or less. And I'll have like, this is what happened, whatever, etc., etc. But for the time being, I'm just going to sort of say, well, I'll say I'm going to try and fix the enchanting table, empowered enchanting table. That's the thing I'm going to try and fix for next week. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. And I look forward to finishing this mod and sharing it with y'all. Anyways, bye-bye. Should I do the outro? Fuck it, I'll do the outro. Thank you all so much for watching. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me do it for real. Okay, so if you like the video, you should like the video. Relatively so. Oh, wait. If you like the video. Relatively straightforward. If you're new around these parts, hit that big red button at the bottom right hand of your screen. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next episode. Thanks for watching. Oh, it's like the classic from the beginning outro. Oh, what a channel staple. What a channel staple. Ooh, one last thing I'll say before I low. I'm not sure if I said it earlier in the video. If you're still stuck around, holy attention span. That's crazy. I actually do have a different YouTube channel. It's Super Seal and Super Seal Live, I think. Super Seal channel I've kind of neglected. I meant to make it as like more of the from the beginning uploads. I didn't quite follow through on that. That's a little project I'm gonna work on for today. But links will be in the description for both of those channels. And any other important stuff that I think. My Twitch channel, I stream on Twitch. I don't stream me making the mod. It's me like on my Minecraft world or doing other random shit. But either way, all those stuff is out there if you want to watch more of my stuff. Without any further ado, thanks one last time for watching, and I will see y'all hopefully next week. It's on Sunday morning, afternoon. Again, I'll figure that out. But for the time being, see y'all later. Bye-bye.